In this video, we will be discussing about the textbook questions relating to the crop production and management, as well as we will discuss a few extra questions regarding. Till now, I have discussed about. I will say the topics which I have discussed in my videos. Okay, that is first is crop production and management. In that, I had discussed about the agricultural practices, basic practices of crop production, preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizer, irrigation, protection from weeds, harvesting, storage, food from animals. These are the topics which I have covered in previous videos. Okay, now first question. If you see the first question, it is nothing but the fill in the blanks. Okay, they have given some words here. Among that words, you have to choose the correct answer for the respective questions. First question is the same kind of plants grown and cultivated on a large scale at a place is called, what do you call that kind of plants grown and cultivated on a large scale? We will call that as crops. Correct? I need to fill here as crops. The first step before growing crops is dash of the soil. What we have to do first before growing the crops? First we have to prepare the soil. Preparation of the soil is very much important. Damaged seed would dash on top of the water. What the damage? How the damaged seed will go? It will float. It will float on the top of water. For growing a crop, sufficient sunlight and dash from the soil are essential. What do you require? Sunlight, as well as you require water. Then you require sufficient nutrients. Nutrients from the soil for the healthy growth of crop. Okay, let's move on to the next question. That is, match the following. Kharif crops. Okay, if you see the section B, if you see the column B, which one will matches to the Kharif crops? Kharif crops are nothing but the crops which are grown during a rainy season, right? Rainy season means if you see these options, which requires more water, paddy and maize. So this is the option 1. So we have to match here. Right. Next, rabi crops, which are grown during winter season, right? It requires a relatively less amount of water compared to kharif crops. So I need to write here 2. Chemical fertilizers. If you see these options, which option will matches to the chemical fertilizers? That is urea and super phosphate. Next, organic manure. What is that organic manure? If you see, this is animal extract, excreta, cow dung, urine and plant waste. That comes under the organic manure. Question number 3. Okay, we have to give 2 examples for each. What are that? For kharif crops you have to give and rabi crops you have to give. Kharif crop means the paddy and maize, whereas rabi crop means wheat and gram. These 2 are the examples for kharif and rabi crops. Next question. Write a paragraph in your own words on each of the following. They have given some points or they have given some terms. Okay. What you have understood about these terms you have to write in your own words. Okay. First is the preparation of soil. What is that? See, before growing the crops, what you will do to the soil? First, you have to loosen. Then, you have to turn the soil and you have to loosen the soil. Then, why you have to do that? Because the roots of the plant will easily penetrate into the soil and it can breathe easily even when they go deep. Why we need to loosen the soil? Because in order to make the roots of the plant to go deep into the soil and to breathe easily, or to exchange the gases, or to make the plant to exchange the gases, easily. So we have to loosen and we have to turn the soil. That points you can mention here. Sowing. What do you mean by sowing? First you write out. The process of putting seeds into the soil is called sowing. And what kind of tools you will be used for sowing, that you have to mention. The tools used traditionally for sowing will be funnel shaped tool. I have discussed that also. But nowadays they are using seed drill. Why they are using seed drill means the advantages of seed drill is more, right? What are the advantages? This tool not only helps to sow the seed, it also helps to sow the seed at a proper distance as well as at a proper depth. If we sow the seed using the seed drill, it will not only sow the seed, it will make the seed to go deep into the soil at an equal distance from the other seed also. So that is the main importance of the seed drill, which is mainly used for sowing, that we have to mention. Okay. Weeding. What do you mean by weeding? Weeding means some undesirable plants which are grown along with the crops. Okay. And these plants are called to be weeds. Then what do you mean by weeding? Weeding is nothing but the process of removing the unwanted plants. It's called weeding. Next, we have to know about threshing. What do you mean by threshing? Threshing is the process of separating the grains. Okay, the process of separating the grain seeds from the chaff. Chaff is nothing but the remaining, whatever the remaining that we are obtaining from the crops, that are called to be the chaff. Okay, what do you mean by threshing? Threshing is nothing but the process of separating the grains, okay, grains, seeds from the chaff is called threshing. Then how you will do the threshing? You will do the threshing using combine machine, right? And you will also do the threshing using winnowing method also. Winnowing is also a method which is used to separate the grains from the chaff, and also you will use the combine. This is a machine which is used not only for threshing, it is also used for harvesting also, right? These two things I have discussed in my videos. Okay. Next, we need to know about the difference between the fertilizer and manure. They are given in your textbook. If wheat is sown in the Kharif season, what would happen? We have to discuss. See, what is Kharif season? When you will grow the crops during Kharif season, that is during a rainy season, right? See, if I'm talking about wheat, wheat is generally grown during winter season. That is a rabi crop. See, if you grow the wheat during the Kharif season, what would happen? What will happen? We have to discuss. See, if we pour more water to the crops, which doesn't require that much of water, what happens? You will see the relatively less yield of the crop, right? See, the wheat crop is sown from November, December to March or April. It is grown in winter, right? And it requires less water. So, if wheat is sown in Kharif season, its production will decrease considerably. Production is nothing but the crop yield will be will be decreased considerably. You can see the decrease in the crop yield if you grow the wheat during Kharif season. Next, explain how soil gets affected by the continuous plantation of crops in the field. See, what would happen if the soil or if the crops is cultivated continuously in the same soil? What happens? The crops will grow, right? The crops will grow, and what happens? It will absorb the essential nutrients from the soil, and hence the fertility of the soil will be decreased. As a result, we should not continuously grow the crops in the same soil. See, continuous plantation of crops makes the soil poorer in certain nutrients. As a result, the crops take up the nutrients from the soil. Correct? Yes. the soil becomes infertile. It does not get enough time to replenish the nutrients. So what we have to do, we have to wait. We have to wait, or we have to do certain methods in order to replenish or in order to regain the fertility of the soil. Okay, that is the question here. Explain how soil gets affected by the continuous plantation. How soil gets affected means because of the continuous plantation, the soil will absorb the essential nutrients. So the crops will absorb the essential nutrients. As a result, the fertility of the soil will be decreased. As a result, we should not continuously grow the crops in the same field. In the next question, what are weeds? How we can control them? Weeds are nothing but, as we discussed before, weeds are nothing but the undesirable and unwanted plants which grow naturally along with the crops are called weeds. Then how we can control them? The growth of weeds can be controlled by adopting many ways. What is that first method? First thing which you can try, that is tilling before sowing of crops helps in the uprooting and killing of the weed. This is first method. What is that? Tilling before sowing of crops. As usual, before growing any crops, what is the first method you will do? That is tilling. Tilling before the soil. If you do the tilling before sowing, what happens? It helps in the removal of the weed. It will help in the uprooting or unkilling of weed. That is the first method how we can control the weeds. Next, which may then dry up and get mixed with the soil. Weeds are also controlled by using what? Certain chemicals called weedicides. Weedicides are sprayed in the fields to kill the weeds. This is also one more method to control the weeds. Okay, first is the natural method, and next the second one, that is weedicides, that is using chemicals to can control the weeds. Okay. Arrange the following boxes in proper order to make a flow chart of sugar cane sending crop to sugar factory. They have given first irrigation, harvesting, sowing, preparation of soil, plowing the field, and manuring. These are the options they are given, but we need to arrange correctly. First, what we will do before growing any crop, we have to prepare the soil first, right? That we have to write first. Preparation of soil. Then what we will do? We will do tilling or plowing the field, right? We will do this. Second, this is first. This is second. Next, what we will do? Next, we will sow the seed. That is third. Next, you will do manuring. You will do manuring. By adding extra nutrients to the soil, you will get good crop yield. So, that is the next method which you have to do. Next, you have to do irrigation. Irrigating, watering the crops you have to do. That is the fifth one. Next, harvesting. Next, sending the crop to the sugar factory. Like this, you have to arrange. Okay. Next, next is, this is a kind of puzzle which you have to clear, which you have to solve. Okay, they have given some instructions. Follow that instructions and try to fill the boxes here. First, down, down. If you see down like this, providing water to the crops. This is the first one they have given. Providing, you have to see down like this. You have to move down and you have to search for a word that suits this sentence. Providing water to crops. What do you call that method as? Irrigation. So I have to fill here irrigation. I-E-E-I-O-N. So this is irrigation. Next, down. Keeping crop grains for a longer time under proper condition. What do you call that as? That as storage. S-T-O-R-A-G-E. Storage. Next, certain plants of the same kind grown on large scale. What do you call that as? That as crops. Crop. Okay, next across we have the seed. A machine used for cutting the matured crop. What do you call that as? Harvester. Harvester. Harvestor or harvester. A rabi crop that is also one of the pulses. What do you call that as a rabi crop? Gram. Gram. And a process of separating the grain from the chaff that is called winnowing. Winnowing. This is the one of the method which is used to remove or which is used to separate extra questions you can see. What is that extra question? In your textbook you can see three activities. Okay. First is in order to determine the good quality of seeds, how you can find it. Just we have to take a beaker, we have to fill the beaker with water, then we have to take the seeds and we have to add to the beaker. Then what you have to do, you have to stir well. Wait for some time. After that you will see what you will see. You will see the good quality seed will get pink, and whereas the bad or the seeds which are not good will float on water. Why? Because the damaged seeds become hollow and they will become lighter, so they will float. In this way we can separate the damaged seeds as well as the healthier seeds. This is one of the methods. Okay, in the next method or in the next activity you will see, okay, in which pot you will see the growth of the crop to be faster, that we have discussed. Okay, what is that? We have to take the moong or gram seed and germinate them. How we will germinate? We have to select three glasses. Okay, for that we have to take three equal sized seedlings. Now take what you have to take, you have to mark as A, B and C. Then to the what you have to add a little amount of soil mixed with little cow dung. This is the manure you are adding. And in the glass B, put some amount of soil mixed with little urea. This is fertilizer, right? Fertilizer. And take the same amount of soil in the glass B. Next, in the glass C, you should not add either manure or the fertilizer. Correct? Without adding anything, what you have to do, now pour the same amount of water in each glass and plant the seedlings in them. Keep them in the safe place and water them daily. After 7 to 10 days, observe the growth. Okay, what you will find it? What you will find? After 7 to 10 days, we observe the growth was fastest in the glass B. This glass B, if you see this figure, you will see the growth of the crop will be more in the glass B because we have added the urea. This is the chemical fertilizer. It consists of the requirement of the crop, right? It consists of the essential nutrients which are required for the crop growth, right? So we will see the growth of the crop to be fastest in the glass B, followed by glass A. And the glass C will also show some minimum growth. Why? Because in the glass C we have not added anything. Simply we have added the seedling and we have watered the crop. So we have seen only the minimum growth in glass C. That is the conclusion for this activity. In the next activity, they have given the empty boxes here, right? Food, milk. What is that milk? From where we will get the milk? We have to write the source of the milk. From cow we will get, from buffalo, goat, camel. All these are the sources for milk. Next, meat. Goat, hen, pig, duck, sheep. All these comes under the sources for meat. Egg. How you will get hen, duck, goose. Next, honey. How you will get honey? That is honey bee. These are the sources or the food that we are getting from animals. And these are the sources of food from animals. Sources of animal food. Okay. This are the three activities which are there in your textbook. That is the answer for the activity. How we will define the crops? Crops are nothing but the plants of the same kind which are grown in a large quantity are called crops. Then what is the basis of classification of crops in our country? In our country, the crops are classified on the basis of season in which they grow. And what are kharif crops? The crops which are grown in the rainy season. And we can write also the month also. September, the crops which are grown in the summer season and harvested before the rainy season are called summer crops, or you will call that as zade crops also. Okay, this is one extra question which is not there in the syllabus, right? And name two summer season crops. Summer season crops like moong, muskmelon are called the summer season crops, and even mangoes. They are the summer season crops. Almost fruits they will growing during summer. Okay. In the next question, you will see what are rabi crops. The crops which are grown in the winter season, that is March or April, are called rabi crops. Why paddy cannot be grown in summer season? Why? Because paddy requires lots of water, so it cannot be grown during summer season. Yeah, it can be grown only during rainy season, but not in summer season. What is meant by agricultural practices? What do you mean by that? The activities which are taken by the farmers over a period of time for cultivation of crops. Whatever the activities that the farmer do in order to cultivate the crops of quality, the agricultural practices. Next, write a paragraph in your own words on preparation of soil. Okay, this you can write. How you will write? Why we need to prepare the soil? The soil need to prepare in order to make the crop grow deep, or it can go deep into the soil to absorb the essential nutrients. And why we need to do this? In order to increase the growth of microbes in the soil. That all stuff you can write for this question. Next, name the tool used for tilling the soil. Tilling the soil. What kind of tool you will use for tilling? You will use a plow. Plow is used for tilling of the soil, right? Next, what are crumbs? Crumbs word I have discussed, right? While doing loosening of the soil, we will see the soil to be of crumbs. Crumbs are nothing but big pieces of the soil are called to be the crumbs that we will get after loosening the soil. That we need to break, right? That we need to break using the flow, right? That I have discussed. How are crumbs broken? The crumbs are broken with the help of plank. Plank is a tool which is used to break the crumbs. Why should we need to lose soil should be leveled? Why we need to level the soil? Loose soil be leveled for sowing and irrigating. Why we need to level the soil after loosening? Because in order to make the crops ready for sowing as well as for irrigation. In order to see the next process of that is sowing and irrigation. So that we have to level the loosened soil. How is leveling of soil done? Leveling of soil will be done with the help of leveler. These are the 1 mark extra questions which you can focus. Okay. How is flowing done these days? Flowing can be done with the help of tractor having multi-pronged flow. Flowing can be done with the help of tractor. conductor which is attached to flow, right? Okay, in the next question, what is meant by sowing? Putting the seeds into the soil. What is meant by good quality seeds? The good quality seeds means clean and healthy seeds, called to be the good quality seeds. What is meant by good quality seeds? Yeah, question repeated, I think. Okay. What is the advantage of sowing seeds with a seed drill? That I discussed, right? Why we need to sow the seeds with a seed drill? It not only sow the seeds, it will help to sow the seed at a proper depth and at a equal distance. So it will maintain the distance between the two seeds to be same, as well as the depth also. So we need, so the seed drill is very much useful nowadays. Next is, what are manure and fertilizers? What are manure and fertilizers? The substances which are added in order to increase the fertility of the soil, or in order to increase the fertility or increase the nutrients of the soil, you need to add the manure, right? And they are called to be the manure or fertilizers. Next, what is organic manure? Manure obtained from animal or plant waste such as cattle dung, okay, animal waste, plant waste, or all comes under the organic manure. What is meant by crop rotation? Growing the crops alternatively in order to prevent the depletion of the nutrients from the soil for crop rotation. That is one of the methods in order to increase the fertility of soil, right? Of soil. Next, what is meant by irrigation? Irrigation is nothing but supplying of water to the crops in the fields at different intervals of time. It also depends on crop to crop, right? Crop to crop, season to season. And it will depends from crop to crop as well as season to season. That also you can mention if you want. Next, what is drip irrigation? What do you mean by the drip irrigation? Drip irrigation is nothing but watering the plants directly to the roots in the form of drop by drop. That is called to be the drip irrigation. Yes. Okay, this is detail about the soil, the seed which you can write. Okay, give two reasons why seed should be sown at correct distance. Why this interesting, right? We need to sow the seed at the correct distance. Seeds should be sown at correct distance. If the seeds are too close, what happens? The seeds are too close, it will not get enough water as well as sunlight and nutrients, right? If the crops are grown like this, if you will see the overlapping of crops, can you see the crops are getting proper sunlight or proper nutrients or proper water? No, right? The crops should be grown like this, so that all the crops will get the proper sunlight as well as they will get the proper nutrients from the soil. That is one reason. And if the field space, and this is also one important point. What is that? This with a distance part, it should not be grown far away like this. Why? Because you will see the wastage of the field space. You can grow one more crop here, you can grow one more crop here, you can grow one more crop, right? So the crop should be grown at a proper distance. Little distance should be maintained, not far. Okay. So if you maintain a far apart distance, what happens? It will result in the wastage of field space, right? Then you will not get the proper yield. Then you will not get the expected yield, right? If you are expecting this much of yield, then you have to grow this much of crops. And if you are putting the crops this much of distance, we will not get in a sufficient space, right? So we had to grow the crops with a little distance apart from one crop to the other crop. Give two methods by which threshing can be done. Threshing can be done manually, right? By making oxen or buffaloes trample over the cut crop, or by a machine called thresher. Threshing you can done manually, right? You can done manually, or you can use winnowing method also, right? Or you can use the thresher. Next, a farmer grown moon during the rainy season. Will he get a good crop? The farmer will not get a good crop of moong. Why? Because moong is a crop which is mainly grown during the summer season. If you grow that during a rainy season, it will not give the proper yield of the crop, right? It should be grown during the summer season. Why? Because it requires less amount of water. If you pour more amount of water, what happens? Whatever the crop or whatever the yield that is giving, it will get decreased. So it has to be grown during the summer season. Next, why we had to loosen the soil? Why does loosening of soil allow the roots to breathe easily? Why? Why do you think so? When soil is loosened, what happens? The roots can breathe easily and there is more air present in the soil. If you loosen the soil, what happens? It can allow the soil particles to breathe easily. As a result, we have to loosen the soil. A farmer never leaves his field fallow. Will he get a good crop? If the field is never left fallow, the soil will become deficient in certain nutrients and the farmer will not get a good crop. Okay, that is the reason why if the field is left fallow, the soil will become deficient in certain nutrients, and again what the farmer needs to do, we have to add the manure or fertilizer in order to get good crop. What are fertilizers? Fertilizers are nothing but the chemical substances which are rich in the nutrient, that is urea or ammonium. And due to disadvantages of using fertilizers, it will automatically reduces the soil fertility and will result in water pollution. Next is, what is the advantage of using manure? What is the advantage? Manure improves the soil texture as well as it improves the water retaining capacity. That is the main advantage of using the manure. Why should watering be increased during summer? Why do you think so? Because during summer, you will see there will be an increased rate of evaporation of water. Because of heavy sunlight, what you will see, there will be an evaporation of water fastly. The rate of evaporation of water will be increased. As a result, we have to increase the watering, or the frequency of watering should be higher during summer season. Okay. Name the two main methods of irrigation used in India nowadays. That is sprinkler system and drip system. These are the two methods which we are using nowadays. When should the weedicides be sprayed? When you have to spray the weedicides. When you can spray this? When there is a vegetative growth. What do you mean by that vegetative growth? When the weed is not having any flower or any fruit, or no seed formation. During this time only you have to do weedicides. Weedicides should be sprayed during the vegetative growth. Vegetative growth means no flower, no fruit, and there should not be any seed formation. Next question. How are grains stored in homes? While discussing this topic, I told itself, what is that? You have to use the neem leaves while storing the grains at home. At home, we can store the grains by using the dried neem leaves. Okay. Next, 3 marks question. What is that? Define lodging. How does it happen? Okay, this is not there in your syllabus. If you want, you can refer. Okay, lodging is nothing but the falling of the cropland at maturation stage, when it has grown to its maturation stage, and because of some reasons, if it falls down, that process is called lodging. Lodging. Okay. What is harvesting? Mention two important uses of tilling the soil. What is harvesting? Cutting and gathering the crops of the maturation is called harvesting. Mention two important uses of tilling the soil. When we need to till the soil, why we need to till the soil? Because the roots can penetrate deeper into the soil, and it also helps in the growth of microbes. Right? That also you can include in this. It also includes the air circulation. Exchange of gases also improved because of tilling. That also you can include here. Okay, next question. Define crop. Name two categories of crop based on season and what are pesticides. Each question carries 1 mark. Okay, define crop. The crops are nothing but the group of same kind of plants grown over a field. That is called to be a crop. Name two categories of crops based on seasons, that is kharif and rabi crops. What are pesticides? Pesticides are nothing but the chemicals which are used to protect the crops from harmful organisms called pests. Okay, this is the question which is an extra question for you. Okay, this you can refer. Next, earthworms are nature's snowman. How? And how is soil a resource for all living organisms? Even 2 points. Okay. Earthworms are nature's snowman. How? Why? Because they make burrows in soil and bring lower fertile layer above the ground. It will dig the soil and it will bring the fertility to fill the top layer of the soil. So the earthworms are called to be the nature's snowman. Next, how is soil a resource for all living organisms? Right? Because it is a habitat for many living organisms. In soil, you can see many organisms living. Right? Best example is earthworm. Earthworm is the place where the earthworm will live is in the soil. Right? So it is the habitat for many living organisms. And what else? Why the soil is very much essential for the resource for all living organisms? Why call that? Because the plants grow in soil and it provides the food, shelter, and other essential things to the animals. For that reason, we call the soil as the resource for all living organisms. Next, name 3 natural methods of replenishing the nutrients of the soil. Are these natural methods sufficient to maintain the fertility of the soil? Name any 3 natural methods of replenishing. How you will replenish the nutrients of the soil after growing any crops? We can follow the crop rotation and mixed cropping of the 3 field fallow, crop rotation and mixed cropping of the 3 natural methods of replenishing the nutrients of the soil. Okay, just give the points like this. Crop rotation, mixed cropping and field fallow. These are the 3 methods which you can increase the fertility of the soil naturally. Give 3 reasons why soil should be turned and loosened. Same question here, but in the different way they have asked. It allows the roots to penetrate deep into the soil, and it also helps in the growth of the microbes, and it also helps in the exchange of gases that also can add to it, and various nutrients held in the dead organisms are released back to the soil. This point also you can mention, or else you can write it helps to bring the bottom layer or bottom fertile layer to the top layer of the soil. What do you mean by that? The fertility not only to be deep into the soil, you can see the fertility to be on the top layer of the soil also. For that we have to turn and loosen the soil. What are the 3 steps involved in preparation of soil? First we have to plow the soil. Next we have to level the soil. Next we have to manure in order to provide the essential nutrients. Next, name the 3 tools used for plowing and give the function of each. I have discussed plow, hoe, cultivator. These are the 3 different tools for used for doing plowing. Plowing is nothing but it is used for tilling the soil, adding fertilizer and removing the weeds. These are the uses of plow. And hoe, it is used in removing the weeds and loosening the soil. Cultivator, it is used for plowing the soil. These are the 3 tools which are used for plowing. Okay, next. Name the 3 tools used for plowing. Okay, same question got repeated here also. How is organic manure obtained? Farmers dump plants and animal waste in pits at open places and they will allow them to decompose by microorganisms, and this decomposed material is converted into organic manure. Give 3 reasons why water is important for plants. Why? Because nutrients which are dissolved in water will be absorbed by the plant. As a result, we will see the proper or healthier growth of plants. Germination of seeds. In order to see the seedling or in order to see the sprouts of the seed, we have to add the water. Water is very much essential for germination of seeds, and it will protect the plant from frost and hot air currents. These are the 3 reasons why we require water for plants. Next, what are the advantages of a sprinkler system of irrigation? The sprinkler system of irrigation is useful on uneven lands, and not only on uneven lands where water is available in smaller quantities. In that places also you can use the sprinkler system. And what else? It conserves the water and it is useful for the sandy soil. Sandy soil. It is useful for the sandy soil and it also helps in conserving the water. So if you are using the sprinkler system, you are not wasting the water. Okay, you are conserving the water. That is the thing here. It conserves the water. Okay, and the sprinkler system of irrigation is useful on uneven lands and where the water is available in smaller quantity. Next, give the advantages of using the drip system of irrigation. It is also one of the important methods of irrigation, right? It is also helps to water the plant but drop by drop, and water is not at all wasted and it can be used where the availability of water is less. If you are seeing the water to be scarce or if you are seeing the water scarcity, then you can use the drip system of irrigation. Mention or explain the manual methods of removing the weeds. The manual methods of weeds include physical removal of weeds by using cutter, cutting them close to the ground from time to time, and this can be done using putty or harrow. You will call these 2 things, or putty is also called to be harrow. Using this thing, you can remove the weeds manually. How? By cutting them close to the ground from time to time. Okay, that is before or at the time of vegetative growth. Okay, we have to remove the weeds. Okay, next, thank you. This completes this part. This completes this. Okay, bye.